Well, good Tuesday afternoon, everyone. It is 48 digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, where I take you through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching right now, whether that's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream page, I want to, of course, thank you for watching and spending a little of your Tuesday afternoon with me here. I think after Before the Four today, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go get me a nice, juicy cheeseburger. And you already know that kind of leads into our 48 Facebook question of the day. What food condiment will instantly make you not eat something? I think I'll just about eat anything, but I'm just curious to see what you all had to say. So make sure to stick around for the end of today's Before the Four as I shout out some of my favorite comments. And believe me, there were some really good ones. Honestly, every comment, I couldn't really find a whole lot of comments of condiments that I didn't like, but there was one, and there was a little bit of controversy in the newsroom of whether or not that was a condiment or not. But I'm super excited to get to Facebook Fun segment. So make sure you stick around for that at the end of today's Before the Four. But until then, I say it's time we dive in to some of today's top stories. And starting things off in Owens Crossroads, where several were arrested after a riot broke out at a psychiatric facility last night. Brent Patterson with the Madison County Sheriff's Office says a fight first broke out at Pathway of Madison County just before 9 last night. Patterson also said several arrests were made and the juveniles involved were transported to Neves Davis Juvenile Detention Center. Owens Crossroads Police Chief Jason Dobbins says 6 teenage girls started a riot which led to busted windows, broken computers, and the destruction of one of the 2 operational buildings. According to Dobbins, police were called to the facility for medical reasons. When they arrived, they said the girls began to riot. One of the employees was hurt in the process with a gash over her forehead. He says other residents in the facility barricaded themselves for their safety and did not participate. Dobbins says that all of the girls will be charged with inciting a riot, and one of those girls will also be charged with assault. He also says that the facility will have to shut down by October 1st. Officials are giving them 1 month to get all of the residents out. 48's Callie Neese has been at Pathway of Madison County all day today, speaking with officials and working to learn as much as she can about the situation. Stick around for any updates Callie will bring coming up. And now let's head back here. Let's talk about the weather for a bit. I'd say it's been a beautiful day out there since September rolled around, but will this wonderful weather last? 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis has your answer. Brad?
Yeah, AJ, not a bad day today. We've had more of a breeze out of the east, and we've had a few showers out there, mainly west of I-65. Quick look at the radar. This is all tracking pretty much north and then to the northwest. Temperatures, they're down considerably at far east Alabama due to that strong east wind, but still about where they should be this time of year in the upper 80s out west. Now we're looking at that cool down. That's the only thing we have really high confidence in as we head into the weekend is a big cool down. It's going to feel more like October, albeit say the second week of October or so, with highs near 80 degrees, overnight lows in the 50s. And we're still holding out hope for a chance of rain Friday. If we get it, it'll be early. Overall, that 10-day forecast trending cooler, upper 70s Friday, 80s Saturday and Sunday, morning lows in the 50s. So overall, the rain chances are sliding to the south, but the cooler air is still sliding south too, and that's good news for all of us. AJ?
Well, thank you, Brad. Now in DeKalb County, where a Jackson County man accused of sexually assaulting children is now facing new rape charges. According to newly released court documents, Mark Bryson, who you're currently seeing on screen, was indicted by a DeKalb County grand jury for first-degree rape. Bryson was already facing numerous rape and sexual abuse charges stemming from at least one other alleged victim. He's currently booked into the DeKalb County Jail on a $1.2 million bond. And now, this story in Jackson County, a Tennessee man who's already facing 3 child sex crime charges was recently indicted on new charges. James Thompson, who you see on screen, is accused of transporting young boys across state lines to be sexually abused. Federal investigators said he had been doing it for at least 30 years. The new 4-count indictment includes the 3 original charges, but includes a 4th charge from a 3rd victim. Besides his federal charges, he also has an outstanding warrant in Jackson County, Alabama. Right now, Thompson is being held in a jail in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He is expected to be back in court Friday for an arraignment hearing. Thompson previously pled not guilty to his original 3 charges. And now a few stories you may have missed. A triple shooting in Huntsville over the weekend left many neighbors upset and questioning why. 48's Callie Neese with the story.
It doesn't make sense to me. That's all I have to say.
Carmen Moore says she was out shopping Saturday morning when 2 people came out of this house and started shooting at another person in the street right behind her home. The whole incident was caught on video. We cannot share that video, but you can hear over 30 shots being fired. Moore says her mother called her as soon as it happened.
I got a phone call to come home because they were shooting behind my house. And when I got home, the police was all out here, and shell casings were in my driveway, and my window had been shot out. Bullet holes in my husband's car. It was a mess, actually.
When Moore came home, she saw a bullet hole in the bench where she sits every morning. That bullet traveled through a pillow, through a metal bench, and through her window into her living room. Moore told me she believes God saved her life on Saturday, adding that if it would have been any other day, she would have been sitting on that bench.
I just haven't sat in the front porch since because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. I don't feel safe. And I've never not felt safe at home.
Huntsville police officers are still investigating the incident. A department spokesperson says 3 people were injured in the shooting and 2 have been released from the hospital. Moore says she doesn't understand why this happened.
Goodness gracious, let's just live. Get along. Try to get along. There's no reason. I can't find no reason on this earth for me to be in an argument with you or anybody else and to get a gun and shoot you.
Well, thank you, Callie. In a little lighter news, new COVID-19 vaccines are hitting the shelves as officials work to slow down the rise of cases across North Alabama. The new vaccines have already started arriving at some pharmacies across the Tennessee Valley. Plans to start shipping out the vaccines began right after the FDA approved the new Pfizer and Moderna vaccines last month. The vaccines are meant to target the KP.2 strain of the virus that has been spreading since early spring. Earlier today, 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy spoke with Evan Lawson. He's a resident in the infectious diseases pharmacy at Huntsville Hospital. Lawson said it's important for people to try to slow the spread before the holidays, which often is when cases spike again. Anyone over the age of 6 months can receive the new vaccines. And of course, staying in health news, with seemingly everyone glued to their phones these days, eye health is certainly something we should all take into account. WBRC's Brady Talbert recently spoke with an Alabama eye doctor who says experts are seeing more nearsightedness in children since the pandemic. Dr. Randall Pitt says the fix is simple. Parents should get their child to play outside in the sunlight. For adults, dry eye is a common problem. When adults are on phones and computers all day, they often experience it because they blink less frequently. Dr. Pitts recommends taking breaks about every half hour. He said some people believe blue light glasses help, but others, not so much.
I don't know. And then that's an honest answer. There are people that tell me that they absolutely feel so much better using those. And then others, I've had a pair or 2 that I've tried. I didn't notice a difference, but then again, I don't sit down and look on the computer usually for hours at a time. It's usually a short period, looking at patients and things like that. So there's certainly no damage done by them, and if your eyes are more comfortable with them, you're not going to do any harm by any means.
Well, thank you. Now another story in case you missed it. A new Alabama bill could raise online sales tax. 48's Nick Ballinger with the details.
Every time you buy groceries, clothes, or eat out at a restaurant, the sales tax you pay at a brick-and-mortar store in Huntsville or Decatur is 9%. In Florence, sales tax is 9.5%, and in Gunnersville, it's 10%. But if you shop online, sales tax statewide is 8%. That's cheaper than most cities in North Alabama. It's because of a program called Simplified Seller's Use Tax. It allows businesses that sell products online in Alabama to collect just 8% tax on whatever they sell. Representative Chris England says the math and numbers need to change. He drafted a new bill to change the tax.
It puts our brick and mortar stores at a complete disadvantage. Actually go into the store to go see the item, look at it, and then go home and order it.
People I spoke to in Huntsville don't think this new bill would change the way they shop.
Try not to do too much shopping, but most of my shopping's done in store, just because I like to put my hands on a product prior to purchasing it. I do think it's a good idea in that regard, but I think most people just be lazy and will continue to shop online.
His bill would make sales tax on online purchases 9.25%. That's more expensive than a lot of city sales tax, which is one of the goals of the bill. But it's not the only goal. Under the Simplified Seller's Use Tax program, the tax on online goods doesn't go to your local government, regardless of where you bought it from.
Whatever you spend your local tax dollars on loses money and gives half of that money to the state of Alabama and a good portion of it to other parts of the state, cities and counties that had nothing to do with the transaction itself.
That's something else England's bill changes.
The money would stay local. It would go to whatever, including your local school boards, roads and bridges.
Well, thank you, Nick. Now in a little state news, before we dive into some national politics, let's head down south to Prattville, where one community is certainly proud to be Americans. WSFA has the story.
At first glance, Prattville's Poplar Street looks like any other suburban neighborhood. But if you look a little closer, you'll notice most homes have something in common: the American flag.
And there are some 34, 35 flags in our neighborhood now.
It's all because of this man, Tom Howard. The Air Force veteran executed his initiative to put the flags up in 2003, and they've been up every major holiday since. Howard felt called to do so because he recognized that so many of his neighbors had also served and sacrificed for the country he so dearly loves.
I can name 12 military-associated families on Poplar Street. And there was a sense of owing these people.
He pitched his idea to everyone on the street, asking them to chip in $15 for a flag. One of those neighbors is Glory Warnock, who sees the flags as a symbol of unity in a polarized country.
It still stands for a great nation, undivided. It may seem like it, but when push comes to shove, we are one united country, and those flags stand for that.
Howard believes respect for the flag has diminished over the years and hopes newer generations can recognize its importance.
I worry that it just doesn't mean the same thing anymore, and I wish it did.
Very well said, thank you. Now in a little national politics. The first presidential debate between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris is just 1 week away, with both campaigns in full spiral attempting to win over the battleground states. NBC's Peter Alexander has the details.
With just 9 weeks to go, the battle for the White House is now a dramatically changed race. Harris versus Trump, with the current president, Joe Biden, campaigning for the first time alongside his VP, who now tops the Democratic ticket.
She has a backbone like a ramrod. She has the moral compass of a saint. This woman knows what she's doing.
Harris in Pennsylvania, using the Labor Day holiday to emphasize her commitment to union workers.
When union wages go up, everybody's wages go up. When union workplaces are safer, all all workplaces are safer. When unions are strong, America is strong.
Noticeably off the trail this Labor Day, Mr. Trump, but attacking Harris on his social media platform, writing all Americans are suffering during this holiday weekend. Also over the weekend, the former president sparking new controversy by insisting he had every right to interfere with the 2020 election while repeating his false claim that criminal election interference cases against him are politically motivated.
Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it? You get indicted and your poll numbers go up.
The next major moment in this race, the presidential debate, now just 1 week away. Multiple sources familiar with Harris's preparations tell NBC News she's held a series of work sessions between campaign stops and her official duties. Unlike Mr. Trump, who shared the stage with President Biden earlier this summer, it'll be Harris's first debate in nearly 4 years.
Thank you. Now a fun story I saw today. We all know Punxsutawney Phil predicts how much winter is left every year, but in Maine, they turn to a lobster to understand how much longer summer will last. NBC's Katie Delaney introduces us to Passy Pete.
We wouldn't miss this.
Dozens gather in Heritage Park, eager to find out if there will be a late summer or early winter, as declared by Belfast's clairvoyant crustacean.
I would wish for a late summer, but I have the feeling it might be an early winter.
I think it's going to be early.
A late summer. Early.
Late summer for sure.
Early winter.
Anticipation is building.
This is more important than Google. We need to know what the weather will be. Yeah. This is serious. This is science.
At last, Passy Pete is pulled out of Penobscot Bay by the Belfast Barons and Baronesses.
All right, Passy, return once again.
Then Passy emerges from his trap and is presented with 2 scrolls, one declaring 6 more weeks of summer and one declaring an early winter. Despite the hopes of many, the lobster predicts,
if you have taken care of your crops and restocked your shops, an early winter is nothing to fear.
Though the crowd is not happy with the announcement, the prediction can't damper these lobster-loving spirits.
Oh, it's so much fun. I'll tell you, we really, it's silly. It's just a great time. And then just seeing all the kids just are so excited about Passy.
For resident Gary Stuckey, Passy's Labor Day prediction is on his calendar every year.
It's just fun. You know, it's nobody takes it real seriously, and it's a kind of a nice little tradition.
Passy Pete has been making his forecast for 10 years. The tradition was started by a group of local business owners as an end-of-summer celebration. Their goal is to promote tourism.
It was just a fun way for us to think about, the summer's coming into an end, but let's see if we could just have one last little fun hurrah, and maybe Passy predicts 6 more weeks of summer, in which case all the people will flock back to Belfast, or maybe it's an early winter like this year.
Now, Passy is returned to the Bay until next year's prediction.
Well, very cool. I think they need to get Passy Pete and Sand Mountain Sam together, honestly. I don't know. Sand Mountain Sam, he's kind of my guy. I think I'm going to roll with Sand Mountain Sam for at least the winter. But for the summer, I can go with Passy Pete. But very cool story there. But now in sports, the Rocket City Trash Pandas are playing out their final homestand this week at Toyota Field. The Pandas this week taking on the Biloxi Shuckers, the AA affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's hope the Pandas can go out with a bang. And, well, if you're an Investigate TV Plus viewer, you might be pleased to know that a second season is coming very soon. Investigate TV Plus Season 2 officially drops on September 9th. And today I spoke with Investigate TV anchors Lee Zurich and Tisha Powell on the new season. Take a listen. Well, hello and welcome back to the 48 Now desk. I'm digital host A.J. Wuest, and today I am joined with Investigate TV Plus anchors Mr. Lee Zurich and Tisha Powell. Lee and Tisha, thank you so much for joining in all the way from New Orleans. A brand new season of Investigate TV Plus is coming up very, very soon. First, what are your takeaways from Season 1, and what can viewers expect to see from Season 2?
First, AJ, thank you so much for having us. And we thought that season 1 worked out so well. We're going to give you a little bit more of it, a little bit more of the investigative work, some in-depth stories, some inspirational stories. We've got a new look. Things are going to be really good for season 2.
Yeah, if you watch season 1, investigate journalism, that's kind of the cornerstone of this show. But we also, love to leave you with an inspiring story. You're going to see much of the same coming up in season 2 of Investigate TV Plus.
Well, sounds super awesome. What types of stories will be included in season 2?
Look, again, investigative, it starts with that for sure, but we have, medical mythbusters, a medical health segment that is frequently in the show. How to be your own investigator so you can be an investigative reporter of sorts at home. Many of those segments in many of our shows as well, too.
Yeah, we are covering all topics from the military to children's issues. We have a story about foster care and how some of the children aren't getting adopted like they were at the rates that they were before. We're doing a story about a school for children who are homeless. So we're covering that. And as Lee mentioned, we're also doing a lot of medical things. So it runs the gambit. We have a lot of things that we hope to cover and inform you in your own community.
That's right. A little bit of everything. Love to see it. Will we see stories from our region in the show?
You definitely will. I mean, the beauty of this show is that we have a team of reporters in 114 television markets across the country, and we kind of take the best of the best, and a lot of that content is coming from right here in the state of Alabama. So certainly you will see stories that originate from Alabama, but more importantly, stories that impact you watching at home right now, showing you problems that happen and showing you solutions to those problems that you might be having.
And that's the beauty of Investigate TV Plus. We give you a slice of life from all over the country. We have such great journalists within Gray, and you're getting an opportunity with our show to see their good work. So we can bring it right to you where you are, and we hope that there's a takeaway from every story, from every episode, and we hope that you'll join us.
Super exciting. Finally, with my last question, what do you want viewers to take away when they watch Investigate TV Plus?
Yeah, so you use the word takeaway. Tisha used the word takeaway too. We hope viewers, take something away. They learn something from this episode. When I meet people who have watched it, the first thing they usually tell me is, I'm learning something. I didn't know something that you reported in the show. So we hope to obviously entertain you, but also inform you with some news that you just weren't aware of before watching the show.
And we had a story in season 1 about valley fever, which has the same symptoms as the flu or COVID. And someone emailed me and said, I had valley fever, but I didn't know for the longest time because I'd never heard of it. So we were able to tell people what it was and tell them maybe you need to get checked out for this if you live in this particular region. So we're bringing information like that to people that, they may not have heard of before to help you live a healthier life, a better life, that you can bring things to your home or your community that you maybe weren't going to before.
Very nice. Investigate TV Plus Season 2 will start on September 9th. You're certainly going to want to be there. You're certainly just not going to want to miss it. And speaking of things you're just not going to want to miss, let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscast. The first story, a story from 48 Savannah Sap on the state of tourism this past summer in the city of Guntersville. The latest in the Deborah Catledge animal abuse case. An unexpected hearing today, get the latest from that. The latest in the Juan Laws case. And finally, the final story you're just not going to want to miss. The latest on a new animal shelter coming to Limestone County. These are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscasts. And I think, it is just about that time. It is time we go ahead and head into Facebook Fun. Let's pull up today's question. What food condiment will instantly make you not eat something? I've been looking forward to today's Facebook Fun. You all had some really, really good answers, and I'm trying to think of a food condiment that I don't really like, but then I thought about it for a second and I'm like, I think I pretty much just like everything. I mean, there's not a whole lot AJ does not eat. But let's just see what all you had to say. And with this final response, I definitely have to give my 2 cents on that. So make sure you stick around. Let's see. Randy Kellum says horseradish. Randy, I respect that comment, but I do not agree with you. I absolutely love horseradish, especially if you get it on a steak, like a prime rib. You get some au jus sauce. Oh, man, it's so good. I love horseradish so much, and especially like at Arby's, you put horseradish on that beef and cheddar or whatever you get. I absolutely love it. Or the Arby's horsey sauce. It's so good. But, you know, Randy, I respect it. It is a bit much sometimes. So, absolutely. Randy, thank you so much for commenting. June Nelson Graham said hot sauce or jalapeno, anything. That's another one. I absolutely love hot sauce. I love jalapenos. Definitely cannot relate, but I feel that. Absolutely. June, thank you so much for commenting. Amanda said kraut and relish. I kind of feel you a little bit on the relish. Like some people say it's just smashed up pickles, but there is a flavor in relish that is just not quite like a pickle. I do love pickles, but sometimes relish can taste a little funny. So I feel that, Amanda. But sauerkraut, come on, I love me some sauerkraut. But Amanda, thank you so much for commenting. Jessa said mayo and sour cream. Oh, Jessa, are you sure you're getting the right mayo? I absolutely love mayo and I love sour cream. But I feel that, Jessa, absolutely. Jessa, thank you so much for commenting. And then Connie Young said onions. So originally I said, yeah, onions are the condiment that I don't like. But we had some debate in the newsroom today. They're like, onions is not a condiment. It's a vegetable. And I'm like, well, it's a topping like you put on your cheeseburger or your hamburger. But they're like, that's not a condiment. But Connie, I feel you 100%. Onions, if onions are on my cheeseburger, I am either taking them off or, yeah, I'm probably going to still eat it, but I'm definitely taking off the onions for sure. And then some onions are hard to take off. Like they're all like, if you go to a restaurant and they're all like sliced and diced, and it's hard to get all those onions off. That is just the worst. But Connie, 100%, I am not a fan of onions at all. But thank you so much for commenting. But that just about does it for today's Before the Four. I want to thank you for sticking around and spending a little of your Tuesday afternoon with me. If you haven't done so already, make sure you download the 48 Digital app, the 48 First Alert Weather app, and of course the 48 Sports Zone app. Turn on those push notifications and never miss a breaking story. And with that said, I think it is about time I get me a cheeseburger. But of course, I want to thank you for watching. You all have a great night.